Hello kitties! Today I'll be showing you how to install the Shogun no-cut full protection kit, which is the frame sliders, the rear spools, and the bar ends for the 2015 GSXR 600! Alright, so motherfuckers, to do this install you are going to need the following, and I will go ahead and freeze it after I explain everything and put a list on the screen to make it easier for you. You're going to need your Allen keys, preferably T-handle, because I like these for taking off the fairings and tightening up the bolts. I don't like to use a ratchet because I like to make sure I'm not over tightening the bolts. It should only be hand tight on the fairings anyway. So you got those. You got some hex head hex head sockets. You're going to need this to torque down the frame sliders. I'm always losing track of it. It's too early in the fucking morning. Okay, so you're going to need some hex sockets to go ahead and torque down the frame sliders, as well as the rear spools. I believe they also use these. You're going to need a torque wrench, preferably a 3/8 drive. We're not working with huge bolts here, so I believe the frame sliders are going to be 70 foot-pounds. I don't know. We're going to check the manual for that. But this is a Tekton torque wrench. I got it on Amazon for about 40 bucks. I'll go ahead and post a link. It seems pretty solid, and it's going to be the first time using it today, so I'll show you how to use that. You're going to need a Phillips head to remove the bar ends, because we're going to put the Shogun bar ends on it. You're going to need a screwdriver, preferably a long one, to pop the snaps on some of the areas on the front of the fairings. I'll also show you where those are. You're going to need some blue Loctite. This is actually Permatex brand, medium strength, so we're going to use this for some of the frame slider components. Some people actually use it for the rear spools. I'm not going to today, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. You got some instructions here that I printed out from Shogun's website, which is shogunmotorsports.com. I'm not going to show you what's through this because I'm just going to go through it in the video, but you can follow along on here if you're watching this video. Unfortunately, they didn't include that with the kit itself, but this is the kit right here. As you can see, it's got everything. It's got the rear spools, you got the frame sliders, you got the bar ends, and that's it. And I'll show you where to get that. Oh, this also is going to work for the 2011 all the way up to 2015, but doing it on 2015 600. And of course, you're going to need your handy dandy service manual. I highly suggest you get this if you're going to be wrenching on your bikes, especially your brand new bike, otherwise you're going to fuck it up. So without further ado, here we go. So installing the rear spools, the things you're going to need to lift your bike to work on it in the future if you get a stand. Here on the left side, you see the hole for the left rear spool. On the other side, you'll see one on the right for the right rear spool. I'm going to show you how to do one side because the other side is essentially the same. Okay, now on these, there's no torque value, okay? Make sure it's just really tight. A lot of people like to put some Loctite on the screw before they screw it in. I'm not going to. I didn't do it on my 2004 and it never got loose. So it's up to you. I like to just get it really nice and hand tight. Nothing crazy, you don't torque them down. So let's do that. So here is the left side rear spool. They're not marked, of course. They're both the same exact thing, but you usually put Loctite, just a little drop right there before you put it in. It's up to you. It's up to preference. I don't put any, I just snug it up, that's it. So all you do is screw this in right here. This is actually going to be a 6mm out. So here we go. I want to get this started off with my hand first. Reason being, this is aluminum. If you strip it, that is it. You fucked it up. And then you're gonna have to re-tap the fucking hole. Aluminum is very sensitive. And if it doesn't feel right going in and it doesn't go in smoothly, don't force it. Pull it back out and do it again. Now check it out, it's already tightening up. Okay, I'm just going a little hand tight here. Just one hand, not even putting too pressure on it. Okay, barely two. Check it. Feels nice. One more time. It's tight. So there you go. That's how you do the rear spool. Same thing on the other side. All right, now let's go ahead and install the Shogun bar ends. It shouldn't be too hard. It is basically a Phillips, and you're just gonna unscrew it and it should pull out. So let me go ahead and grab that and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna do one side once again because it's virtually the same on the other side. As you can see here, I'm gonna try and get in here. It is a Phillips head. You're just gonna get a thick, yes, I said thick, ha ha ha, that's what your mom said. Okay, I said a thick Phillips end. Go ahead and screw it out. Just want to let everybody know, usually if you were just getting a bar end like this with a screw, we take this out, but this is actually one complete piece like this. So do not unscrew this all the way. Just loosen it and then go ahead and pull like that slowly until it pops out in this whole piece right here with the washer and the rubber expander here. I don't know if everybody can see that. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Just loosen it. Do not take the bolt out all the way. And then just slowly coax it out. Now you got a hole here, and that's what we're going to fill in with our Shogun. When you loosen this bolt here on the bar end, the stock bar end, you don't take it out all the way. Just loosen it and then pull out, and you got this. You got the nut, the expander, the washer, and the bar end. Okay. So what you're going to do is, here's your Shogun one. Comes with the screw, and that's it. So you're going to go ahead and unscrew here. Okay, be very careful here. So you're going to have the nut, which is attached to the expander, and a washer here. You're going to make sure the washer stays on here like that, and you're basically going to use it here on the Shogun. So you're going to put the Shogun here through here and then go ahead and screw it. Kind of put your finger in the hole if it's small enough. In the hole, to prevent it from twisting, or you can grab your T-handle like this and just screw it till it reaches the end, but don't tighten it, just get it at the end. Then you stick it in your bar end all the way and then tighten it up so that this expands. Try to pull it. If it doesn't pull, it's good to go. And it actually went in without a rubber mallet, so let's go ahead and tighten it down. I'm gonna get my 5mm T-handle. Remember guys, this is just gonna be pretty tight. You're not gonna torque it out, just enough to expand the thing in there and pull on it, make sure it doesn't come out, make sure it's solid. And then it's gonna be the same thing on the other side. I won't show you that, but I will show you the gap clearance that you're gonna need. Shogun pretty much does it itself. You don't really need to leave it out, but if you can see here, focus. Okay, that is the gap clearance. It's really tiny. It's like a penny or maybe a nickel. Okay, same thing on the other side. All right guys, so we got the rear spools on, we got the bar ends on. Now the fun part. This one's gonna be tricky because you gotta be careful when you're taking off the fairings. There's lots of clips. You don't wanna break anything, especially if this is your new bike. Then, if you do, you're fucked. So pull very carefully, make sure you got all the right bolts and pop pins out and fasteners, all that stuff. Okay, read your manual. If you don't know how to do this, you don't feel comfortable, please read your manual or get a friend to do it. I'm not responsible for your fuck. Anyway, I'm gonna show you how to do it. So let's get started. We're gonna start with the left side. Another thing to note, and it says on the instructions in the Shogun pamphlet there that I printed out or whatever. Okay, you want to make sure you do one side at a time. Do not take out both engine studs, left and right. You do the left one first, put the bolt in, torque it, then do the right one. Not both at once. Otherwise, you're going to have huge issues. I'm telling you. So let's get started. So I've done this on an 04, haven't done it on this one just yet, but based on the manual and things I've read, you're going to go ahead and want to take off this bolt, this bolt, this bolt, and this bolt right here by the kickstand, right there. Okay, those are the bolts you're going to take out. All right, fasteners, you're going to go over here. Let me see if I can get this. There is a fastener in here. There's one down here. Let me see if I can get it. Right there, you're gonna need a screwdriver to pop that out, as well as this one, you're gonna need a screwdriver to pop that out. Then, under, you're going to see one right here at the front. And I believe there is another one that's gonna be in here, in the back. We're here towards the radiator, and you're gonna push that with something small, pencil kind of size or pen size. Before I actually take off the right side, I just want to show you the beauty of having rear spools and why I want to go ahead and lift the bike to make this easier for myself, because I don't like it lean like that. It's harder to take off the bolt. I want to see everything aligned, so I'm gonna use my pit bull stand to go ahead and lift the back of the bike. Top ones are going to take a 4mm, the other ones are going to take a 5mm. Make sure you save these bolts somewhere and remember where they go. You don't want to cross thread them or put them in the wrong hole. Trust me. Did that on my 04. This one's a long bolt. And if you just have your engine running, be careful, because your bike's probably going to be fucking hot. Alright. You're going to want to use a screwdriver here to pop this fastener out, as well as the one on the bottom. There's a little indentation here to put it and pop it, so let's do that. gonna use your thin, I believe this is a 2mm Allen, to pop these snaps out. Oh, you have to pop them really hard. Okay, there's one right there. Let's get this inner one. Okay, so guys, I want to mention that when you're pulling this off, it's going to be attached here, and it's got clips all through here. You're going to have to just carefully pull up and just kind of slowly, it's going to take some force to pry it off. They're going to pop off all right here. Then you pull it off, and then right here, as you can see, there is the air for the fuel. You pull this tab up, pull this, and you can just let those hang. And that's it, you got your left side fairing off. We're looking at the left side here. This is the engine stud right here. That's the engine stud bolt. That is what you're gonna need to take out to go ahead and put the frame slider piece in. These are no cut, okay? But first, you got to prep the frame sliders, and I will show you how to do that, and then we'll remove this bolt. So let's go ahead and prep the frame sliders. This is the left side, and this is the side that's facing the frame. This is the right side. As you can tell, it's got a little indentation here, and that's the side that's facing the frame. These are the little spacers or cups that are going to go here and here, and the bolts. It's going to be a 4mm, and I'm going to use a socket head and hex sockets here. And what you're going to want to do is, at the end of these bolts, put 1 drop of your blue Loctite. I'll do 1 just to show you. Go ahead and put 1 little drop here. Just like that, you don't need a lot. Okay. Grab it, turn it around. You can see there's little already pre-drilled kind of holes here. Grab one of your cups. Well, first of all, put this through. You can go ahead and put that through. That. And then go ahead and put this on. It doesn't say how tight they need to be, but I'm going to try and get as tight as I can with my hand. It's pretty much all it's going to go. Can't force it anymore. Okay. Clean up your Loctite here. I got a little bit here. And just go ahead and do this to the rest of them. Make sure that you got it on the right side here. Remember, this was the side that's facing the frame. And there's little indentions here. You can see where the bolt will actually mount flush in there. So do that to all of them. Use Loctite on the end of the bolts. I went ahead and got these done. As you can see, these are the frame cups here on both of them. Okay, left, right. So we're gonna do the left. The left one is gonna take the bolt that has the washer. Okay. So let's go ahead and put it on. The service manual, this is where it does come in handy. As you can see here, it states AB right here on the frame. This is the engine mounting stud right here. A, C value right here. B, C value. The torque we're going to use on this bolt once we get it on is going to be 55 Newton meters or 40 pounds-foot. This one's actually going to be an 8, guys. Alright, so here we go. Make sure you got it in there. You don't want to fuck up the threads, especially if you reuse this later. I was able to get it off by hand just with a good pull. So take this out. And there you go. Save the bolt. So we got our left Shogun slider here. As you can see, there's a little indentation here that goes in the cup here, which actually makes it lock onto the frame really good. So we're gonna go ahead and put that on hand tight first. You do not want to cross thread this. You don't want to mess up the threads. If you have any resistance at all, pull it out and go again. You should not put this in if you feel any sort of resistance. You will fuck up the threads and that will be the end. Then you are fucked. So we got it hand in there. Okay. I'm going to use the ratchet just to kind of somewhat tighten it a little bit more. Okay, that's about as tight as I can kind of get it with my hand. So now you're going to take this, get your torque wrench, and we're going to go to 55 Newton meters or 40 foot-pounds. Okay, so this is going to be our Tekton 3/8 drive torque wrench. Comes in a nice case here. Instructions, as you can see, it's my first time using it. I'm not going to show you right now. I'll show you in another video, but it's very good and important to go ahead and maybe put a nut in a vise really tight, test it on the lowest setting to make sure it is working. You do not want to use this only to find out it's not working. You over tighten the bolt and that is it. Anyway, so 55 Newton meters, or you could go to 40 foot-pounds. This has both. This has foot-pounds. You probably can't see it. As foot-pounds and Newton meters. Basically, you're going to loosen this bolt down here, twist this up to where the 0 hits the line on what torque you need. It's very hard to see from here. And then tighten the nut and you're set to go. Put your thing. The thing about a torque wrench is when you're using it, you want to only hold this end. Lock in there and slowly ratchet. If you go fast, you're not going to feel the click. You need to do slow, even pulls, and then when you feel the click and hear it, that's it. Alright guys, so I got my torque wrench. It is set to 55 Newton meters or 40 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and do it. Remember, slow, even pulls. Make sure it's locked in. There's the click, and that's it. So let's go ahead and start work on the right side. We're gonna have to take off the bodywork again. I left the bodywork off the left side as well. We'll put all of it back on at the end. Texas, it's a fucking hot state. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. So on the right side, you're gonna have one bolt here, one bolt here. You're gonna have a bolt here, and a bolt back here near the rear brake lever. And then two pop push pins up in here, I believe. One might actually be, no, I think it's a pop pin. So on this side, you're gonna need a 5 and a 4 millimeter, I believe. The 4s are gonna be for these, and the 5 is gonna be for these bigger screws. Actually, this one is gonna be a 4. This is a 5 right here. Make sure you save these screws. So let's get started. Alright guys, so with the right side fairing off, we can go ahead and get to the engine stud bolt, which is right here. Same thing, we're going to get our socket wrench to go ahead and pull it off. Then we're going to put our frame slider plate with the new included bolt from Shogun. And we're going to get it in there as much as we can, hand tight. And then we'll torque it down. So here we go. I'm going to remove this bolt. You want to make sure you're turning counterclockwise to loosen it. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Here we go. Make sure it's locked in and then pull down hard. And remember, one side at a time. Do not take both these bolts out at the same time. Otherwise you're going to have a shit ton of problems. Take this off. Remove by hand. And there you go. Of course, this side has a groove too for the Shogun piece right here. Here's the supplied bolt. This one does not have a washer. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in. Put it on like this. Okay. Of course, on the back here, it's got this recess to clear the VIN number so it won't scratch it up. So you put this on. Make sure that is in the hole like that. Okay. Bam. Get your bolt from Shogun, put it in, and hand tighten. Use your hand. Do not use a tool to do this. You do not want to cross thread. I cannot stress that enough. I will say that throughout this whole fucking video. This side has a little bit more resistance, but it's not enough to where it's cross-threading. It's the way it should be. It's the way it came out, that's the way it'll go in. Okay, there it is. I got it hand tight. Put my ratchet to it just to get it a little snug. Okay, I got it snug with my hand. We're gonna go ahead and set our torque wrench now to 55 Newton meters or 40 foot-pounds, and we're gonna torque this side down same as the other side. Lock it in. Okay, locked in. Slow, even pull, still you hear the click. Bam. That was the click. That is it. So here it is. This is the right side on, torque down. Got those. This is where your slider's gonna go. I'll show you that at the end once we get all the bodywork back on. And this is your left side, torque down. Cups. This is where your puck will go. And the longer one goes on the left side. So I'm gonna put the bodywork back on, and then I'll show you how to put the pucks on and torque them down to the Shogun specifications. It's also gonna require some blue Loctite again. Putting the fairings back on is basically the same way you took them off. Just be careful, make sure all these tabs line up when you're putting back on the fairings. Make sure this lines up, everything looks together. It's a very good idea to take pictures of this with your phone if you're unsure. That way everything goes back on. Make sure all the bolts go in the same location. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'll be back when I'm putting back the pucks. According to this Shogun instructions here, like I said, the left side is longer than the right. We're gonna go ahead and bolt them on using the supplied bolts. And let's see, we're gonna put some thread locker, a drop on the end of each bolt. We're gonna torque the bolts down for the frame sliders to 32 foot-pounds. So let me go ahead and set up and we'll do that. So obviously here's the hole. Everything lines up good, everything fits good. Okay, so here is the slider, the longer one. Here is the bolt. At the end, you're gonna put a drop of Loctite. Okay, so here it is. Put a drop. Just like that, nothing crazy. Just a drop. Okay. And you're gonna go ahead and put it in. Okay. Here is the same hex head we used on the studs. It's 8 millimeters. So remember, same concept. Hand tight. Get it hand tight in there. Don't cross thread. Make sure it goes in smoothly. Okay. Once you got it in there, we're going to tighten it with a little bit with the ratchet, and then we're going to torque it down to the 32 foot-pounds. So it feels hand tight. Take a look in there. Make sure that it didn't get stuck anywhere. Okay, it feels hand tight. Let's get our ratchet. Need the extension too. Alright, 32. Even till it clicks. So here's the right side, right there. Here's our slider. Loctite. Okay. And then go ahead and hand tighten. Okay, then use the ratchet a little tight more. Okay, then we're gonna torque. Okay, 32, lock it in. There we go. All right, guys, and there you have it. The complete Shogun kit, the rear spools. Rear spools right there. You got your bar ends, which actually look pretty good. And remember the little gap there, especially on the throttle side. Okay, and then of course, the main thing here, the sliders. And they actually look pretty good. They don't stick out horribly, but they stick out enough to do their job. I would imagine they'd be pretty good in a little tip over in a parking lot or something light. I don't know about a crash, but there you go. So that's that. Shogun complete protection kit for your 2015 GSXR. No cut, didn't have to cut anything. This also works from 2011 up to the 2015, as I said. Some important notes, make sure you have a torque wrench, especially on those engine studs. You want those to be factory torqued to the factory specs. Be careful with the body work. What else? Oh, make sure you have a service manual. I can't stress that enough, especially if you're going to be wrenching on your own bike and you don't know a lot about mechanics, but you are a DIYer like me. And make sure you have a torque wrench. It's a very, very important tool. So I'll go ahead and post a link to buy the torque wrench, the Shogun kit in the description below. And thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next Tales from the GIXX tutorial. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, this is the Type 2. And as you can see, it's got an LED there. It's also plug and play. So I'm going to plug it into where the existing plug is right now for that fender. So they send you that. This is about $60 some. And then of course they give you the bolts that you need.